Yarangi, Yangupura, Mandukini, Kanangara, Nunangula, Maren Garagi, Kuleitangboro. Thank you on behalf of my people. We welcome you onto Gundungurra lands.
This project has morphed into something bigger than koalas, so it's become holistic and there's a lot more animals involved than what we sort of first thought. It gets us on country, it gets our kids out on country and they're learning knowledge, and as well we're passing on that traditional knowledge to the scientists.
With this project, we are working with Aboriginal people to collect information on predation rates of koalas and other species by looking at what species are found in the scats of predators. And so that's native predators such as dingoes, goannas, eagles, powerful owls, but also some of those introduced predators like foxes and cats. It happens to be one of the greatest gaps in koala science from a Western perspective as well. You know, what is the risk to koalas of these predators, particularly the introduced predators, but the native predators as well?
Some of the best field work that I've ever done. It's just a lot of really slow walking along a lot of fire trails and tracks and roads. And usually we have 3 or 4 people kind of spread out, so we're looking at the edges and the centre as well, just looking for predator poos.
It's in here, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Is that it?
So we send it off to the lab at UNSW and then they blitz up the poo that's in there and isolate the DNA that's in the poo. So you'll have the DNA from whoever's done it and then also all the species that they've eaten as well. We get this big mega spreadsheet of all the different species that were in the poo.
Not only are we finding out what the main prey species are of these predators and whether or not they're eating koalas or other threatened species, but we're also getting an insight into the distribution of some of these species.
Straight through, there's a grey lump.
We're bringing together the most ancient science in the world with the most cutting-edge DNA technology to answer questions that both our Aboriginal partners are interested in and we as Western scientists are interested in as well.
So the signal's the beeping?
The signal's the beeping, so when you're pointing it towards the collar, it'll beep louder.
Back that way.
It's good, very close.
I've got a good spot.
She's moving. She is.
Well, I was born in Camden in 1950. Can't remember koalas at all as a child. But more recent, in the last 30 odd years, I have seen some rock art that has koalas in it. You know, all these art sites, they all have a story, but we don't know those stories anymore, you know? And you can't look as them being one thing. They are part of the landscape and they're part of the koalas and the snakes and everything else that lives here, the wallabies that we just saw across the road. They all belong to this landscape.
So traditionally we knew where the koalas were in the valley, so we have a songline that runs through there, so you know we've got the information of where they used to be and it would be good to know if they're still there.
Yeah, the top ones are used.
Margot's designed a survey for us, so while we're out and about, if we see anything we can record it into the survey. So, and we've found scar trees and some artefact sites, some art sites, so it's been really exciting.
Pop grew up down the valley and our families had a really close connection for a long time. Dad was fighting for access to the valley when he passed away, so for us this project's given us a really unique opportunity to get back on country, and for me I've had the opportunity to get on country with my elders, with people that have knowledge that I might have lost along the way and we've been able to learn from each other. You know, for me to even get my kids on country, which has just been really special. Look, we need allies, you know, we need partners on this journey of trying to bring our culture back into mainstreams.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I reckon it could be.
That's got to be a Desiurid if it's 3.
Quite sociable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they build their houses in little suburbs.
We have been in the Burragorang Valley for a long time. Since 1987, we've been walking those hills and gullies and
pulling out the weeds. Alison, being a sculptor, has been out in the field casting animal tracks, and as I work with sound, so I've been out there recording sounds, called the frogs, the dawn chorus, sounds from under the water, and the vibrating trees, all these things over the years. It's just experiencing the place.
we'd read quite a lot of the texts about the Gundungurra people, but to actually meet Kazane, you know, and bring it right into the present.
Yeah, it's that direct connection on the ground in that place that's of significance to us, but you know, great significance to her and her family.
We've been forced to slow down and not rush around like a lot of scientists do, trying to collect data and write things down. We've been forced to walk slowly on country and take that in, use a lot of our senses to find scat and just go to some of the most beautiful places that I've ever been to. I really get into the zone. It's really hard waiting for the results and data to come back.
Oh my God, smell that. Yeah, that's it.
I get really sad though when I'm looking around enjoying it, and then I've found a scat of you know, a predator that's not supposed to be there, and like from an ecological perspective it shows that the ecosystem's not balanced.
When you look at the articles that were written or papers that were written by settlers when they first came, and there's all these reports of the damage that was done right from the very beginning by cattle and introduced species, and I've actually found getting back down on country like exciting but depressing. The lack of birds, the lack of wildlife. You see foxes, you see cats. They're animals that cause a lot of destruction. We need to do something now or our kids won't have anything left.
One of the most impactful changes that I've had in my life is learning about the Aboriginal way of looking at the landscape. Everything is part of an ecosystem, everything is part of country, and I've really taken that learning away with me and apply it to, you know, every bit of conservation ecology I am involved in.
So what are we feeling?
Like over there, this way.
That animal there depends on that animal there, and that's part of how this environment was created. It's not just that plant over there. That plant might need a wasp or something that might not be here anymore. It might need a bird or something that's not here anymore.
The science is starting to prove that Aboriginal ways and Aboriginal knowledge was right all along, and we've had this couple of 100 years of destruction of the environment, and I feel like this is bringing together the latest science with Aboriginal knowledge to try and turn that corner and move forward in a way that we can actually care for country collaboratively and work together and bring back traditional knowledges onto country, bring back cultural fire practices, bring back the ways of managing country that worked for hundreds of thousands of years.
We really would like to grow this project and learn more about the distribution now of the native predators, our introduced predators, and the distribution of koalas and other species in the landscape. We want to use camera traps, song meters, everything that's available to us, and everyone's really keen to get out and start with that.
It's the beginning of the story. There should be more partnerships with Aboriginal people, because not only does this give us an opportunity to see country that we don't get to see every other day of the week, it's something that we haven't been a part of before. We've just been, yesterday I called us an appendix. We just added on to the end of everything, and yeah, we want to be in the middle of the book, not in the end of the book.